Peace, peace. Greetings to everybody. Peace, 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 everybody. Can you hear me out there? All right. Let's have to do this mic check real quick. Yeah, so thank you for tuning back in. Had a great build yesterday. Want to thank Ishmael Bey, uh, legendary Chief Top Cats, and Moors in America. Thank you for your time, and of course, Chief Two Hawks. Thank you for dropping through. It was unexpected, but always welcome. Uh, so today's guest is a brother by the name of Hondo Davis. If you're not familiar with him, well, the topic of the show is, simply put, what is it to be a Black native still practicing the tradition? So he's going to share some of his story with us. Brother has a very interesting story. I've met him a few times, multiple times actually at different events. He's always at all the different gatherings and powwows and stuff. brother's always there. Never really had a chance to sit down and talk with him, so this is gonna be a first time for me. So I'm gonna ask, of course, I'm gonna get his background and all that. But as I stated before, he has a very interesting story, and something that's definitely worth being shared. And after that, I'll open the line for some guests if they want to have some questions, open some dialogue. But remember how we get down, we do it real respectful. The elders is watching, ancestors is watching, so we're gonna maintain our decorum and get it in, have another great show. So the brothers should be popping in probably another 5 minutes or so. Anybody got any questions, anything they'd like to pose before we get started? I think the brother's actually here now, so I'm gonna let them up in like a minute. If anybody got anything, they can drop it in the chat. Let me go check what's going on in the chat. Medicine in the house, peace. Shy, peace. Off the grid, peace. Thank you. Yeah, we trying to light it up for the people. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the brother up right now. Since I'm keeping anybody waiting, it's 8:30. It's that time. Oh, CO.
CO, to hit you.
Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. Anishi, thank you for coming up. So yeah, we're not gonna we're gonna jump right into it. First, how have you been?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I've been good, man. I'm healthy. Employed. I'm doing the things I love. So, what I'm saying? I'm feeling real good. Trying to contribute to this growth we all experiencing. So, if you could just introduce yourself to the viewers we have thus far.
Okay. Oh, CO Nagada. Waga Jukanastina. Dakodo. So hello, everyone. My name is Whispering Bull. My English name is Michael Davis. Most people call me Hondo.
Hondo.
Mm-hmm.
So, Hondo, can you share with us your tribal background?
Okay, well, I come from a mixed tribal background, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm still discovering and working on,
Mm-hmm.
myself. Um, Cherokee, possibly Nanseman, and Creek, like that.
Okay, so just for me, like I said, this is like probably the first time we've are gonna have an opportunity to have an extensive conversation. So, I'd like to know as much as I can about you. So, if you could share as much of your story, growing up a little bit, and just also share with us, uh, when I say your story, I'm just talking about your Black Native story. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, like many people that reconnect to the ways, I came back to this traditional life when I was about 18 years old. You know, Before then, I always wondered about, my family, where they were from, who they were, and our history, you know. So for a long time, I would just wonder, but I didn't have any tools to find out or anything. I just have like little stories here and there from, people in my family. Oh, you look like an Indian. Oh, somebody in our family was Native and this, that, and the other thing. And I said, oh, really? Because I noticed I didn't look at it. Okay, I like to use the term visibly black
Mm-hmm.
for us Native because, you know, you can look like somebody and be mistaken for them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I was raised black, I
Mm-hmm.
was raised, I was raised in the Kingdom Hall, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay.
Craziest upbringing you could ever have, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was rough. And you know that there was no spirituality. There was no talking about any of this stuff that we talk about today. And a lot of my family still doesn't. You know,
Okay.
they they just they're just stuck in that type of colonization.
Yeah.
And I love them. So hey, but
Absolutely, as you should.
you know that spirit called me back here. You know, back
Absolutely.
among our people. You know, at least to
Mm.
be the first to come back home.
Absolutely.
And like I said, around the age of 18, you know, I started I started getting interested in dancing.
So, where
And
did you grow up? If you mind, if don't mind me
oh,
asking,
I'm
where you?
sorry. I was born here in Coney Island,
Mm-hmm.
and I was raised in Richmond Hill, Queens. I was a
Okay.
little Guyana, as is commonly known.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, so I attended the local schools there. You know, I went to high school there, Richmond Hill High School. Go Lions! And if anybody's out there watching, and
Mm-hmm.
then I went on to Kingsborough. You know, I tried the college thing that didn't work out. You know,
Okay.
some people just, you know, I'm more of
Okay.
a free spirit. So
Okay. So you said you were 18 when you got the call and when the spirit called you back.
yeah.
What were some of the initial things you did? What route did you take to get back into the culture?
Well, you know, there were some people that there were some other mixed blood natives like myself, and you know they were talking about going to gatherings and things.
Mm-hmm.
So I started, I started going to powwow, and I met the community, you know,
Okay. So real quick,
and
not to cut your wisdom, but you mentioned that you are a mixed blood. Can you
yeah.
explain that for the viewers?
Okay, so um, to be mixed blood, you can have for me that is being of multiple tribal origins as well as having African blood as well, or you know, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much because um, I guess that's who I am. I'm a visibly
Absolutely.
American person, visibly,
Mm-hmm.
um, so I have that blood as well, but I just resound stronger with my native blood, you know,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
and you know what? There's a lot of confusion out there, and I guess we're gonna touch on that later
Mm-hmm.
during this conversation. About that. You know, people that want to shun it. There's people that want to, um, over expound on it, and you know how that ends up stepping on our toes as Native people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. There's a lot of consternation surrounding that particular issue. But
Okay.
I'm happy
Okay.
being.
Okay. So if sorry if I hopefully you didn't lose your point where you were. I just wanted to address that for the people that are watching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I had asked you what route did you take to get back, and you said you were interested in dancing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I first met you or seen you
Yeah,
dancing.
all those years ago.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, we're talking almost 15 years ago. I started going to gatherings, asking questions. You know, I was curious. I didn't have a clue where to start. You
Hmm.
know, but when the Great Spirit calls you in to the circle and you're meant to be there, it's not up to you to find the way. He shows you the way.
Mm.
And so he you know through spirit, I was embraced by people that I later found out to be relatives. They're very
Hmm.
distant. Because some of us as mixed blood natives, our blood goes way back.
Yeah.
Our native ancestor It may be way, way back there, 3, 4,
Mm-hmm.
500 years. And then, there was a lot of assimilation that took place, which led up
Yeah.
to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
so, you know, I didn't have a clue. So there were people that said, you look a lot like this person, or you look a lot like that person. Where's your family from? And I said, well, as much as I know, my family's from South Carolina, you know. And later I found out that wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
They did live there, but uh, I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna fast forward real quick to about 5 years ago. This time, um, and I'm doing my genealogy search, and finding my relatives on the free list of free people of color and mulattoes and so forth and so on. And they're in Virginia. And I mean, we're going back to like Jamestown, you know, old Nansemond.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I do the DNA test and, the ancestry, they have something called through lines, where I guess they discover ancestors that you haven't found on records. And
Okay.
so that's how I found my Nansemond blood. And then I was speaking to an elder and he said, "What's your last name?" I said, "Davis." He said, "You're a Davis. That's interesting because, a lot of people with that last name, they go back to Dragon Canoe, you know,
Mm.
and certain people of that, and that Cherokee bloodline. You know. I did the research. I kept looking through my DNA matches, and surely enough, those names came up: Dragon Canoe, the Raven, like that. Now, I'm not claiming to be a full descendant or anything,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because those were in my cousin's matches. I don't know how I'm related to Dragon Canoe and the Raven. All I know is I have that last name. I was told what I was told. I did the research, and I have a hint there. I don't know that for a fact, but I do know I'm
Mm-hmm.
Cherokee. You know what I
So
mean?
let me ask you this: when you started to enter into the community, like going to the gatherings and the powwows,
Mm-hmm.
being of what you would even define yourself as uh what is the term black? Would you say outwardly black? What was the term you used?
Visibly black
Okay,
person.
visibly black. Somebody that you consider visibly black. How were you received when you entered into the circle? When you started to come around and show interest and have these conversations? How were you received by the people?
Well, I'm thinking back to my early days. My outfits weren't that great,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I didn't really have a clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
But there were there was an outpouring of love and there was an outpouring of hate,
Mm.
because that's when I was introduced to racism in the Native community,
Yeah.
you know, and how people like us are not always, and this isn't to say that this is always the case, but
Mm-hmm.
in certain circles, we're not as um,
It's welcome.
warmly welcomed
Mm-hmm.
as other places, you know. And then you know I had to learn to start navigating around that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it used to hurt my feelings really bad. I used to be a very sensitive person. You know, um, I had a really soft heart. You
Yeah,
know,
many of us do. That's
yeah, and
that's
I
common. Like,
still, yeah,
yeah.
and I used to get mad and you know blow up and go storming off, and you know why can't I be accepted like everybody else? And people say, well, you don't just get accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Even amongst the people that don't like you. You got to earn your respect.
Yeah.
You got to earn your privileges. You got to do the work. You know,
Absolutely.
that was how I got chastised by my elders and my elders. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, I I don't know if I don't know, like, people like Lonnie Harrington, and you know Aunt Yellowcorn. You know, those are people that took me under their wing. They said, brother, we see where you're going. You need to do this a little
Mm-hmm.
bit better. You can dance like this. They took me under because they saw who I was.
Mm-hmm.
They said, I know who you are.
So, so it's almost like when you enter into any community, right? You could be a kid coming to a new school. It's going to be some kids that don't like you. It's going to be some kids
Sure.
that befriend you and show you the way. So that's common in any community, any type of situation that you place yourself into that's new. So for
Mm-hmm.
people that are out there, like, and that's something that they fear or they might, use as an excuse to not intermingle, they should think of it, they should definitely learn from your experience and they should think of it more in those general terms. I mean, they're going to be people that like you for whatever reasons. It ain't just got to be because you're darker than the rest. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you do have to earn that, you know what I mean? And those that don't respect you, you know what I mean? You just keep it
So,
moving.
and that's how I eventually, that's what I summed it up to. My outfit used to look crazy.
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you know, like I was told, I had to earn it. I had to do the work. So that meant I had to start researching and studying. My dancing was on point.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't taught by any Southern street dancers how to dance, but I had a love for that dance. I watched and I learned.
Mm. So what
You know,
style of dance do you dance?
I'm a men's Southern straight dancer.
Okay.
Some people have called me a champion dancer. I'm just like, hey, I'm just a guy who I was in the
No,
competition.
you're definitely a legend. I definitely have heard I've seen it for myself. So, you know, you definitely earned that. So you don't have to be too humble. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you,
You reflect in the great spirit when you do what you do. So, you
thank
know,
you.
absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, I had to straighten up. There's elders. You know, there's folks out here that don't know how raw and to the point our elders can be in the Native community. There's grandmas don't even know, they'll come and slap you upside your head. Hey, pow, straighten up, sit
Mm,
up. You know, I'm a member of the Native American Church too. You
okay.
know, and I've seen how our elders can get after you because how we call it. They getting after you. You know,
Hmm.
come getting after giving you those pearls of wisdom. It may not seem like a pearl at the time. It may
Yeah,
come across as acid or vinegar, but trust me, you will be grateful for it down the line.
absolutely.
I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. So, what communities do you frequent a lot now? Like, well, what community are you closest with? And if you could just mention, just for the people that are listening, if you could mention some of the communities that are in the general area here.
Um, hmm. Well, since COVID,
Yeah.
I've been on the online community, on the online Native community. Before COVID, there was a Native American church community in Brook Park, up in the Bronx. So
Hmm.
I was a member there. Um, there was the Cherokee Language Circle at one point. Um, that didn't last long.
That was in
And
Lower Manhattan, right?
yes, it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
visited
visited.
that a few times. Yeah, I visited there a few times too.
I had I had at one time started a healing circle, and I used to run it out of Reality House. It's over on Vernon Boulevard in Queens.
Mm.
And members of the Cherokee Language Circle, they attended along with a few other natives from the community. Um, the Taino community, I'm close to them. Certain members of the Taino community, like Rodney Rivera, and you know, um, That's pretty much. I mean, there's a few others, but I don't think that's really native community. So,
Okay.
you know, aside from being a two spirit and being a member of the GLBTQ, two spirit
Okay.
plus A B C D F G community,
Now
because
that's something that people are starting to discover now, and I'm starting to see the two spirit start to evolve into something like bigger than it's representing a larger group of people. Um, would you mind speaking a little bit on the two spirit and what it means to you?
okay. Well, two spirit people, I mean, in this day and time, we're defined as gays, lesbians, transgenders, and you know, um, in the old days, that was a person who was born of either sex and demonstrated skills, characteristics, attributes, and traits of the opposite sex in a very strong and fluent way.
Mm,
Um, so much to where they took on the opposite gender role,
yeah.
but still maintained their I guess you would say biological gender,
Mm-hmm.
um, or gender role as well. So they served in both gender roles. You know,
Okay.
they were the two spirits of the old days. They were highly revered. Some were the fiercest of warriors. You know, um, it was shared with me that by a Cheyenne brother of mine that in those days, in the old days, in the old times, you know, some of the greatest tail men were two spirit men and women. You know,
Mm,
they were the fiercest of warriors. They would ride in the back, you know, and if need be, they would they would turn around and face the enemy and often
mm,
sacrifice themselves so
mm.
that the rest of the party could get away. Two
Wow.
spirits have been teachers, priests, uh, you know, council people. You know, they assisted the clan mothers in straightening out matters. You know, we've served a number of roles. You know, in our community, in our
Mm-hmm.
villages, in our families. You know, um, people may contest this uh, uh, point or opinion, but they would say that when a warrior lost his wife or whatever have you, sometimes they would take on two spirit partners, and just to keep the family going and intact, you know.
Mm.
You know,
So so
been a,
two spirits were not like how today's society views them, or
no,
I don't even want to say today's because it's gotten, I can't speak for it, but just from what I see, I think things have gotten a little better, gotten a lot better, um, to when I remember when I was growing up, like how people were being treated.
yeah.
Um, but it's not really for me to speak about. But so I want to ask, was this something like, did the two spirit tradition, was that something that you kind of helped you embrace? Like, did you have any issues with like, accepting yourself and things of that nature? And did the two spirit tradition assist you in any way in terms of coming, I don't know if you struggle with yourself or not.
Well, like I said, I was raised in the shadow of the kingdom hall of Jehovah's Witnesses,
Mm-hmm.
and anyone who knows the Jehovah's Witnesses knows they're nice people, but they believe what they believe, and if you don't fall in line with what they believe, you gotta go.
Mm,
So for a number of years growing up, I had to hide it, but I was hiding with the door wide open because everybody knew, you know.
mm-hmm.
Um, I was a very expressive kid, you know. I wasn't flamboyant, but I was expressive. And you know, I got the brunt. I got the brunt of abuse for that. From from my parents, from my family. Growing up. Oh well, straighten up. You need to do this. I got quite a few beatings behind that, and I
Mm,
survived. But hey, you know, what don't kill you makes you strong. You know.
absolutely.
So around that time at 18, that's when I picked up and I went into the real world. You know, came back here to Brooklyn because I was searching for freedom. You know, and that's how creator led me onto this path. So yeah, in a way, this two spirit tradition is what led me here. You know,
Mm,
the
okay.
disagreements, the wanting to be free, the search for love and acceptance. You know, because you know how it was back in the day. For
Hmm.
it was
Yeah,
rough.
yeah, it was very rough. I mean,
It was
I
rough.
remember the stories. I mean, I know how people uh, mistreated people, back then, and how the laws didn't really support,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely get that. So you were somebody that was dealing with. So you were dealing with your like an identity thing where you're, coming into your native identity.
Mm-hmm.
You're you're getting settled with your, your sexuality, who you are as a two spirit,
Yeah,
and you're coming into the real world. So you got a whole lot of things um really coming down, settling kind of at the same time.
yeah.
So in terms of embracing the culture,
Mm-hmm.
even more so than just the two spirit tradition, just embracing the culture, how much of a comfort was that for you?
It helped me to rebuild what was torn down inside of me. It helped me call back my spirit, call back my soul, because, you know, by the time I was 18, I was in a very dark place, you
Mm,
know. Um, I was hurting. I felt abandoned, you know, very afraid of people, you know, socially disconnected, so hmm, getting into powwow, joining the community, that really helped me define who I was, you know,
mm,
who I am, and continues to help me build and define who I am, you know.
yeah.
Um, it gave me the strength and the power to discover things about myself that before people would tell me, "Oh, you're stupid. You'll never amount to anything." Oh well, you know, you're not going anywhere in life. You know, oh well, you're what you are. Nobody's ever gonna accept you. But getting still, you know, fast forward 5 years into me learning how to dance and you know getting into competition. There's pictures of me everywhere. That was a big
Hmm.
ego boost. You
Yeah.
know, that was a
Yeah.
big
It's
ego
good
boost.
medicine. Good medicine.
Yeah,
Hmm.
strong medicine. Because I'm like,
Strong
I
medicine.
got to see me, and
Mm,
I'm like, dang, that's not anything like what anybody else said.
yeah.
I got to see who Hondo was and who Hondo is.
Mm,
And then the way I was able to reach other people, that's when I found my purpose in dancing. You know, because I discovered, well, I didn't discover, it was introduced to me that, people found inspiration in watching me dance. You
mm,
know, there's people that found healing in watching me dance. And I'm not saying like I'm not saying like, I'm a snake oil salesman and I'll come dance and you'll get healed from cancer. But there were people that really found, you know,
Hmm.
remedy, as
Yeah,
it was last night. They found
dancing
healing.
is medicine as well. That's
Yeah.
medicine as well.
So
Absolutely.
I took on a whole new purpose, and it really encouraged me to reach out to other people and not be so afraid, you know,
Hmm.
to think about someone other than myself, because I didn't realize I was being selfish by always thinking
Mm.
about myself and what I'm afraid of. You know, I've learned my lesson from that today. Um, so yeah, it really opened me up to new possibilities, new opportunities.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, in terms of now, like, well, so you did a lot of dancing at a lot of different powwows, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about what that's like, like I did a lot of, I'm a cameraman, a videographer, so I got to spend a lot of time on the road with different, like people I looked up to in terms of like hip hop artists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was a special time. So can
Mm.
you just talk a little bit about what it's like going from powwow to powwow, seeing a lot of the same people, different people? What is that kind of like? Talk about that culture a little bit.
Well, powwow culture is like it's a community. It's a big family. You know, um, it's exciting. You know, because you think you go to this powwow and that powwow, and you get bored. You never do, because every time you go to a powwow, there's a chance to meet somebody new. You come back with a new
Mm-hmm.
friend. You have conversations with people, and you make new connections. You come back with family. People adopt you. Because that's our way as a people, or people that believe in that adoption. Um, that reciprocity. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, hmm, I don't know where to start.
So
Huh.
just describe it a little bit, like
Okay,
like do
so
you stay like I know some people go to powwows and they leave, but you can actually go there and stay and like
yeah.
you can sleep there. Like just talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, powwow is like, depending on your financial budget, it can be roughing it, but having a great time in the outdoors, to glamping. If you have an RV, because some people, they travel all across the country,
Mm-hmm.
365, and do this every weekend. They're at a powwow, sometimes during the week. Yeah, that actually happens. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what do you call it? So yeah, it's like a big camping trip. You know, um, I usually camp out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I have my tent. I think I'm on my third, fourth, or fifth tent. I don't even know, but I got my tent. You know, out in the open, the fresh air. I'm under the stars.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very serene feeling. You get to be in God's country. Well, sometimes we was out at Floyd Bennett Field, but that's still God's
Mm-hmm.
country.
Yeah.
um, you
I,
know,
I I explain to people it's almost the closest feel you're gonna have to living in a village from
yeah,
a couple hundred years ago. You know what I mean? You're waking up in the morning, people are cooking. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you're literally, I mean, you're in tents or like you said, RVs, but they're all still in the general area,
yeah.
around
Some
the
circle
stomp
around.
grounds. Yeah, circled around. So it's like you're living in a village. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? If it's the 2 3 days that you're there, it's really a surreal experience outside of just going there, buying a few things, and then leaving for the day. When you actually
yeah,
go there and experience it, and then there's ceremonies that take place at night.
yeah,
So, it's really a beautiful experience. It's a spiritual experience. It's not just the commerce that people associate with it. You know what I mean? That's why I asked, for you to speak a little bit on,
okay,
you
so you
know,
want Yeah, it's a modern. It really is a modernized version of the way we used to live. Um, I think Powwow is one of the only places where you can let your children run loose and you
Mm-hmm.
know they're going to be okay. They don't come up missing, you know, because you have friends that they have their eyes on them, you know, and that's why we have like that culture of aunties and uncles, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's an auntie, everybody's an uncle, everybody's watching, you know. Yeah, you wake up in the morning. There's food cooking. You know, the smells of food cooking perfume the air. You know, you come out your tent. Your neighbors over there. Hey, good morning. You know, there's not that
Mm-hmm.
usual New York feeling. You know, don't
Mm-hmm.
say good
People
morning to me.
cooking.
You know? There's
Yeah.
lots of cooking, and um, you may have, like you said, you may have gone to a ceremony the night before, or maybe you have something to look forward to the coming evening. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you got to rush and get your shower. You know, get in there for the hot water's gone.
And
um,
then and also
and
like
then there's dancing.
yeah, I mean that's pretty much like what everybody's kind of waiting on. Like that's the
Yeah.
that's the centerpiece of the thing. But like when you actually get to be in an event like that and you stay throughout the duration, you find
Mhm.
out that in those couple of days, the time you spend with people that you just met, you know what I mean, it forms a bond with them that is a family type bond. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That as long as it's nurtured properly, it'll last forever. You know what I mean? It'll grow. So, it's a lot of people that I have known just from being online, right? And then
Hmm.
there's people who I actually met and we actually spent time together for different reasons, powwows, working on things or whatever. And you spend time with that person and you invest like your spirit, you know what I mean? Like parts of you, you exchange energies. So it's
Yeah.
people that like I consider to be family, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And not just that's my cousin. I mean, this is real family because these are people who I met and who I encountered in these environments, who I was a part of something that they were doing, they were part of something I was doing. And it's really a beautiful experience. And it's something that, like I said, it's more than just coming and buying a few things, spending some money. That's important too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But what goes on after all that
Yeah.
stops. You know what I'm saying? That's when the real bonds are made.
Yeah. We gather. We're all sitting around. We're talking about what took place. You know, talk about the dancers. And um, people start trading family stories. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's really how I became part of the community.
Gapo.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, when you stay after, you know,
You see.
people say, "Oh, come on over, come on, have a seat. Where are you from? This, that, and other thing." And you know, conversation goes on, and things start to open up. You know, oh well,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna be at this powwow next time. Can you make it? Oh well, let me see. Next thing you know, you go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's 15 years later, and everybody knows you.
And everybody
You know,
knows you. And you're a part of
and
multiple communities.
not only that, in the process of you getting to know people, you just might run across an actual relative.
Mm-hmm. So this is something that I try to tell people that while you're on your journey of finding out who your exact tribe is, because what you're saying is you're of Cherokee ancestry of
Hmm.
a multitude, right? But I
Yeah.
encountered you at the Ramapo, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, powwow. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it ain't like you like gotta be with your actual tribe. When you
No.
come in the spirit, you're gonna be able to learn from like all the tribes are shared with you. Like you don't
Right.
have to lock it into being I'm this, so I'm gonna go here with these people and set it down. Like
Yeah.
these communities are connected. Like
Right. Intertribal
these,
community.
yeah, the intertribal communities, these events that we talk about when we talk about powwows, how they go from place to place. These are what connects a lot of the communities. So you have
Yes.
people that are traveling from community to community,
Yeah.
right? They're making bonds it's people from different communities traveling. So like this is where a lot of the um, relationship building is made. So people
Yeah.
who really are sincere about wanting to get back into the culture, like
Mm-hmm.
you can literally go to events like this
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
process without being anything. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And still be figuring out who you are, you know what I mean? But in the process, actually partaking in the culture. You know what I'm saying? And then you start getting into things like, do the people know you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what's more important than anything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do the communities know you? You know, and when
Yeah.
you start to involve yourself and become a part of these things, not only will you be known in the community, you'll be a part of the community, whether it's
You'll be
your
very loved.
indigenous community or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, can you just speak a little bit, just add a little bit to that? Because I mean, you're somebody who is actually, you know, I'm sure you have friends from indigenous communities all over the country.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. Um. Hmm. I I don't know. In the past 15 years, I've come to know countless numbers of people. I've met people from, oh God, I don't know how many tribes, how many walks of life. I've made friends that way. Um, I've made, I've made a number of different connections that way. You know, when you dance, people start to ask questions. When you go walking by, maybe your outfit will impress someone and say, "Hey, where are you from?" You know. So then that leads into a whole conversation. You know, next thing you know, you guys exchange numbers. 2 years later, you're still friends. Um, hmm, where am I going with this?
We're just speaking into the, you know, how you know these events, these powwows allow people to travel and allow for the interconnection of the different tribes just through the
Right.
powwows alone.
Yeah, and the thing the thing with powwow is it connects people as friends, but it connects people as families as well. It
As
creates
well,
family.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's people. I mean, look at Shinnecock.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to Shinnecock, a lot of people from Narragansett and you know,
Yeah.
Wampanoag, they come down. And everybody's related to everybody. Everybody's a cousin to everybody because people have been coming to this event for a number of years. This person met that person. That's how Harry met Sally, and this family's related to this family,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's how that works. Then you have the intertribal relations, you know, going even further, because people come from way across the country to come to this event. Oh, I heard it was really good. Oh, I heard you guys are really nice, whatever have you. And so those people, they come, they experience, they have a great time, they carry the word back to their people. Then word spreads, um,
Mm-hmm.
there's that. You know, Powwow will take you places you never thought you'd see. You know, um, you may be a person that just stays in the city all the time, but oh, I heard this powwow is really good over there in Nebraska. So you go over there and you experience the country, you experience the place. You
Mm-hmm.
experience the tribe, you experience everything. It opens up those doors to you that way. All you got to do is just go. You know, just go.
Well, I just
Hmm.
got a couple of people in here. I just want to see if anybody wants to come up and add on and share with you. But now the floor is still yours.
Okay. Um,
Um, so
Lisa.
let me see. So we've talked a little bit about your upbringing. You know
Hmm.
what you know what obstacles you faced what type of advice would you give? Because like now learning your story, right? We all face the identity crisis, right? As we moving into adulthood or just more, shaping our own minds. You know what I'm saying? We go through
Right.
that. We go through the inequality of this experience that we're living in this country. You know what I'm saying? And then everybody has their own little issues that are part of who they are. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So what type of advice would you give to somebody who's actually walking through those same doors you went through? Maybe they got different, you know, different things that they're dealing with, but they're still walking through that door nonetheless. How can
Mm-hmm.
you speak to them about what walking through that door will do for them?
Hmm. I think about I think about someone I adopted as my little brother recently. You know, um, he popped up in my Facebook inbox, and we started a conversation. Um, because he wanted to become reconnected,
Mm-hmm.
and he has all these questions for me now because now he wants to. It's gone. We've become close, and it's gone so far to where he wants to dance now. And I and
Okay.
and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, man, you're me all over again. I tell him that sometimes. I tell him, be careful, be respectful, you know. Um, the way you approach something will merit the outcome that you get,
Mm.
you know. Um, di- different native people have different ways. So, take the time to learn those ways, you know. Don't just lump us all into a blanket category,
Mm.
because Apaches may not, say hello to you the way Cherokees say hello to you, whether it's at a social gathering or ceremony, whatever. I'm just using that
Mm-hmm.
as an example. You know, um, there's there's socially accepted things that go in one place, and socially unaccepted things that go in another. So you have to learn that. Take the time to learn the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Take the time to learn the language. If that's who you're trying to connect to, take the time to learn the language. Learn a few words. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
ask questions. Be respectful about how you ask those questions. We have that tradition of, you know, when you want to, ask a dancer or an elder a question, you bring some tobacco over to them. So carry some
Mm-hmm.
tobacco.
Yeah, bring
You
that
know,
tobacco.
bring that
Yeah.
tobacco and a few dollars. Because time is money these days. It's not
Mm-hmm.
money is necessary, but that tobacco,
Yeah. Yeah. That's respect. That's
put
honorable.
that
When
tobacco in their hand. You know,
mm-hmm.
you know. And if they say no, don't get upset. Don't get upset because whoever tells you no, there's another person that will tell you yes. Whoever doesn't give you their time, open the door for someone else to do so. You know,
Absolutely.
but still give them that tobacco
Absolutely.
and give them that respect. Respect
Okay.
is key. When you enter these circles, respect is vital. You know, um, hmm, you know, I don't know how many times I've seen people come come into those gates, and they're coming with this uh hmm, this entitled, I want to say that,
It's a chip
entitled,
on their
and
shoulder. It's that.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
like, oh well, this mine, it belongs to me, and da, 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 da. Who said so? This ain't yours. You took the time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you give to the community? Do they know who you are? No. So how How you got such a big chip on your shoulder? How you
Mm-hmm.
got your chest puffed out? How you calling yourself a chief? You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can't do that. You know,
Absolutely.
be very respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, be observant. Don't make eye contact with people. Because in our culture, eye contact is rude. You want to fight,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
And people know it. It's in their blood. It's in their
Yeah,
blood. You know what I mean? Like, you know what it is when they call it ice grilling. You know what I mean? It's still a part of, the remnants of the culture still exist. It's in the
yeah,
blood. You know what I mean? Like, you know what it is to look somebody dead in their eye.
yeah,
It could turn out the wrong way. You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's so yeah, that's definitely a sign of
Don't do
respect. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
so yeah, so we touched on it earlier. You brought it up in terms of
Hmm.
this issue with Africa.
Yeah.
Now, I find myself having to um, explain myself or clarify myself all the time. You know what I mean? And people connect me to the out of Africa theory. I'm just speaking on a tribal migration story. You know what I'm saying?
I,
And what I find funny is that a lot of these people that they haven't moved through they're still moving through the information, right? At some
yeah.
point, they're going to get to a point where they're going to be able to see things a little more clearer. And there's
Hmm.
certain things that just are like you can't get around it. You know what I mean? Like certain languages define like structures, define like there it's not just language, but it's history. It's like living history. You know what I mean? When you start getting into the languages, like a lot of the confusion that people deal with, they knew certain languages, it would be a
Hmm.
lot more clear to them, right?
Yeah.
So, I stand on my tribe's migration story, and on top of that, I understand what science validates what they say, what the ancestors said, which I think is beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, and I do also know that a lot of people who have had issues with me, so-called linking us back to Africa, whether it be 400 years ago or 70,000 years ago. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? A lot of these same people claim tribes that historically, guess what, come from the Lenape people.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they're arguing with me about what their tribe says, and they don't even know that their tribe come from the Lenape people.
Yeah.
So it's like I really don't have to get too heavy into the argument with them because I already see like it's a certain range of information that they don't even know yet. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And I don't deal with it. But there is a definite issue with people being connected to Africa, anything that associates them with Africa. And at this
Yeah.
point in time, it's so unrealistic to think any of us are like the pure Indian. I've seen these phrases being thrown around. You know what I'm saying? What about the pure Indian? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, what is your feeling like growing up black, right? And then finding out I'm native. What emotions were triggered during that transition? And did you ever have any issues with redefining yourself and feeling like you had to destroy what had been with you up until this point, up until that point?
Well, it was kind of a feeling of I knew it. It's kind of like one of you know, you get say you're a kid, you take a test, right? Your teacher
Mm-hmm.
gives you a quiz, and they say, "Oh, that answer's wrong." You give them an answer, you say that answer's wrong, but then they check it and they were right, and you say, "I knew it, I knew it." You're excited,
Mm-hmm.
you're jumping for joy, you're happy because all this time you were prepared for this. You were prepared for this. So when I found that out, I had kind of an I knew it moment because I always knew that I was different,
Gotcha.
right? I always knew that something just didn't quite click with me and black culture the way it was. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
I just never blended in. I always wanted to be off to myself, or you know, I just, I just wasn't hip.
Gotcha.
So, and I always said, well, why can't I just be like everybody else? You know? And somebody said, because you're meant to be different,
Mm.
you know? And so I found out what that different was, you know? I said, well, somebody pointed it out. They said, well, yeah, you're black, but you don't look like regular black people, you know? Your lips are different. The way you talk is different. The way you act is different. Something real different about you, you know? And then I found out, you know. Um, what was your other question?
So once you found out, so you didn't have any like, you didn't go through the we I was lied to. You didn't get angry or things like that. Um,
No.
so was there anything about your new like finding this out that made you want to space yourself or distance yourself from what you had previously believed in? Like obviously, I know you probably turned away from Jehovah Witnesses,
Oh, definitely.
right? But that was for like reasons that you actually experienced,
Yeah,
phenomenon you actually experienced.
yeah.
In terms of your psychology, up until then, were you under the mind that you were African of African descent?
Well,
Is that what was being told to you? Put it that way, because
that's
obviously
what.
you
Yeah,
said you knew something different.
I knew
That's
something was different
yeah.
because people, oh, you're African, you're just black. I said, no, I'm not. I know what I am, but I know,
Hmm.
you know, I ain't like them,
So
and I'm
wait,
not saying
so
that in the
yeah,
kind of way.
so there was no real resentment or nothing. It was
No,
just
there
wow,
wasn't.
this is who I am,
No,
and I'm being pulled in that direction.
yeah.
Okay. Now, you say so do you know who your African ancestors are? Like, can you spot them in your genealogy, or are you just assuming that based on phenotype, I probably got some African in me?
Oh well, I guess I'm like I said, I'm visibly black
Hmm.
because for as much as I know, and from what the records show me, I don't have any ancestors on my genealogical record that were enslaved or, and not all black people were enslaved.
Hmm.
Um, I don't have anyone that came directly from Africa. I have people that came from Wales and Norway,
Okay.
and they came here and they mixed in with the people that were here. And I'm not talking about the Aboriginals, or I'm just saying they mixed in with, people that were here.
Hmm.
Um, Possibly Pamunkeys, possibly the Nansemans, because I trace back. I'm a cousin to the Bass family, so I found out.
Hmm.
You know, that's from the intermarriage of the sister of my supposed great, however, seventh great great, however, her
Hmm.
sister married into the Bass.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, like
Um,
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm not
yeah,
interrupting.
it's just like I I haven't found any African ancestors, not any legit, straight out of Africa
Hmm.
ancestors. My DNA test says, yeah, you have African blood, but you know,
Hmm.
it says I
Okay.
have Yoruba and some other stuff, but that's it. Don't say who.
Absolutely. Okay. So yeah. And honestly, like truthfully, like I tell people, that's really not anything. Like I don't feel like it's anything to waste time on, other than to point out the phenomena that occurs and that But I don't have any issues with any of it. You know what I mean? I think you should honor your ancestors, whoever they may be. You know what I mean? I got ancestors from all over the globe. You know what I mean? I just identify with the community that my family was a part of for the past 400 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like um the elder once said, you get up where you fell down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like you don't crawl 10 yards and get up unless they shooting. You know what I mean? But more or less you want to get up where you fell down. You know what I mean? So you know exactly where you are, and you don't lose your bearings. So, I'm standing up as the people that my people were when we took that hit, when we fell. You know what I'm saying? Irregardless to the different lineages and ancestry that I have in me. This is the one that called me, you know what I mean, the loudest. This is the spirit that took hold of me and said, this is the road you're traveling. You know what I'm saying? And I think when people get comfortable with that, understanding the more spiritual side of things, you know what I'm saying? It kind of does away with the whole one drop theory, because that's really what's infected our brains. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like they talk about your one fourth this or one fourth that, but your great great grandmother ain't gonna look at you as anything but her grandchild. She's not
that's
gonna
it.
go, that's my 1/8 grandchild. She's gonna say that's my great great grandchild, and everything in this place is that child's inheritance. You
You
know what
come
I'm
from
saying?
me. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And
But
so, we throw all these numbers and these quorums and all that in because we still are dealing with a colonized psychology, and that stuff really means something to us because it's been bred in us. It's ingrained deep in us, and even though we're conscious of it, we still got to stay working. You know what I mean, to keep that default from kicking in. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
So yeah, I definitely okay. So do we, brother? Do you want to come up? I see some names being thrown around, and Davis is a name on my tribal clan list.
hmm
It's a name of the Cherokee side, because like my tribe is Cherokee and Lenape. So
hmm
yeah, Davis is one of the family names on the
yeah,
Cherokee side, coming out of
yeah,
Georgia.
hmm yeah. And
So
that's where my grandfather was from, Macon, Georgia.
okay, okay, yeah, I think it was around Macon. Might have been around Macon.
hmm
Yeah, I got Cherokee on my mother's side, come from down there, and then I also have Georgia Creek on my father's side. But I haven't delved into that, primarily because we're a part of these communities here, and this is the territory and the land I was raised in, and the traditions I was raised under. So you know
hmm
what I mean. But so so I'm real curious. There's a conversation going on down here, and I see my last name. Would either one of y'all care to come up and share the conversation? So do you have any, like, so what's going on with the in terms of the powwows? Are they starting back up? Are you going to be
Yeah.
getting involved in anything?
Um, Powwow's coming back. It's coming back strong. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
they won't be canceled. Like
Yeah.
last year was a rough year, but I got to
Mm-hmm.
go to Skimitzen, and that was, I love Skimitzen, so I got to go to Skimitzen. This
Okay.
year, as much as I want to dance, I might get to dance one time, but then again, it's I have a lot of health issues going on, and
Okay.
I need to take care of myself. Because I can't be any good to the people if I'm no good to myself. So I think
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I might be taking this year off, and just taking care of what needs to be taken care of so I can come back strong.
Okay. Sounds good. So if anybody would like to come up and join the conversation, have anything they want to add to the conversation, I'm gonna open the lines up now. I put the link in the chat. Anybody can jump on up and add their 2 cents to the conversation. That's I
Mm-hmm.
see a conversation going on in the chat. I see some names being thrown around. I'm curious to um, find out what that's actually about, what that chat is about. So if either
Mm-hmm.
one of y'all want to come on up and share with us, please do. But so currently you are in the Brooklyn area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm out here too. I'm back and forth. I'll be back and forth between up here and DC. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm out here waiting for I'm ready to get back out there to the powwows, ready to, get back into the culture. Like I said, these past couple of years kind of been keeping us inside. Haven't
Yeah.
been able to gather. I haven't seen some people in over a year,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely looking forward to getting back out there and being
Mm-hmm.
with the people again.
Yeah.
So what is your feelings? That's something I've been talking about lately too. What has your feelings been about, um, you know, these communities that are sprouting up all over of people who are seriously trying to find out who they are and establish some type of footing? Like, how do you feel about these groups and any advice you have for these groups in general? Because on some levels, they could even look at your journey and take something from your journey.
Well, one thing they certainly take my pictures a lot.
Yeah,
They
oh, they
they
definitely
take my
do.
pictures
Yeah,
without my permission, but I'm gonna try to stay as pleasant and upbeat as possible.
yeah.
Um, hmm, my personal opinion of you know these communities, the Aboriginal communities, pseudo communities, you know, other group. Um, hmm. I would say I would have to tell them that if you're gonna embark on a journey of rediscovery about yourself, do just that. Rediscover. Don't just grab hold of something or someone's story and try to hijack it and make it your own when it's not your own. Well, when you don't know that it's your own, you know? That's like stealing somebody's car,
Mm.
you know? Cop stops you. Oh well, why'd you take this is my car,
It's my
you
car.
know?
What you talking about?
What are you talking about? You know? The street sign over there told me that it was my car. It pointed right at me and said it was my car. You know what I mean? That's not right. You know, a lot of times they're dead wrong. Most of the time they're dead wrong. You know, I'm just gonna call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
Um, and if any of them are out there, whatever, please don't take this as me attacking you. But you know, these are my people. This is my family. You know, this is my heritage. You know, I had to do the work. So should you. You know, I did the work to reconnect. I didn't just go out there. Oh well, and Egypt is in Alabama and all this great. I didn't do all that.
hmm
I took the time. I asked questions. You know, people pointed me in the direction that I should go, and I went. You know, and I did the work. I sat for hours and poured over a screen till my eyes hurt. You know, going through files, reaching dead ends. You know, and thank goodness for my cousin Craig, because he's a really good genealogist. You know, and I know he's on here. Shout out to you, cousin Craig. You know, um, if it wasn't for his help, I wouldn't have known where to go. You know, but that's the thing. Get the help. Don't just read a book written by someone who doesn't know shit fuck about us or where we really come from. Someone who's inserting their prejudiced opinion, their prejudiced anthropological opinion in a book about us, making efforts to erase us, because that's what those opinions were written for. They weren't written to help us as a people. They weren't written to preserve us as a people. They were written to smear us as a people, defame us as a people, and erase us as a native people. And the things that these other communities are doing, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry to say, they're just as bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know, I was saying hurt people hurt people. Um, so as I've been saying before, I'm going to take a different approach with these people. My lines are open for communication with anybody, as long as they can demonstrate in a certain, you know, maintain a certain vibration. Like there are no gatekeepers. You your own gatekeeper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times has to do with how you carry yourself, about why you can't get into certain places. And that's just with anything. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
when people learn to, conduct themselves in a little more respectable manner, and, obviously, if it's wolves out, you ain't gonna run around here like a turkey. I get it. But you gotta know when to put the wolf up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And pull that turkey out. You know what I'm saying? Pull that
Yeah.
turtle out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, hopefully people can, and also when I want to be able to help share people like yourself's story, because I feel like it can be encouraging to a lot of people who are facing a lot of different dilemmas
Yeah.
during their road home. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think you're a good example on many levels, and hopefully people, paid attention and just listened to the things you said, and even, how simple it was for you to begin to engage with the communities. You know what I'm saying? How you
Yep.
just, you know what I mean? And it's really that, it's not that simple. Everybody gonna have their own path, but generally it's as easy as making friends. And if you
Yeah.
don't have a if you have a problem making friends, it probably ain't got nothing to do with you being Indian or being African or being whatever. It got to do with the,
It's a you
you know what I
problem.
mean? Yeah, it's a you problem. So, you know, let's all deal with our you problems and step into that door, and see what the culture does for you, because it's definitely going to uplift you. It's done wonders for me in terms of how I feel about myself, and help me get past a lot of obstacles that I face, just
Yeah.
mentally, just because of how I grew up and things of that nature. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Just coming into the culture and the camaraderie, yeah, it helped me see myself, just like you said. It allowed me to really see myself, not just, not even just through my eyes, but through the eyes of people who, respect what I do. I often tell people that if you want to know who you are, go around people that you don't know.
Yeah.
When you're around people, a lot of times they can hold you into a template of who you've always been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or even when they treat you certain ways, they still have memories that they're basing how they treat you on. But when you go
Yeah.
around a whole new group of people, and they're measuring you off the energy and your presence in that moment, you're gonna get a gauge of who you truly are. You know what I'm saying? And
That's what my experience was built on.
yeah, and that's what all your experiences when you start to feel a certain way about yourself. And I know for some people, probably people will say, "Oh, you're this, you're arrogant, you're bougie." Nah, I'm just confident and solid and comfortable with myself. And when you reach that point, it's like you carry yourself a little different. And maybe some other people are still working to get to that point. You know what I mean? And a lot of that has to do with the things you know, your experiences, how you've how you process your experiences, things of that nature. So I think very highly of myself because I know what I've been through. I know where I'm at. I know where I'm headed. I know how
Facts.
the people that love me, how they treat me and how they see me. So I have to
Mm,
think highly of myself because they think highly of myself. And the moment I
yeah,
lower the bar, right, I'm gonna let other people down because I have presented myself to people who care about me
mm,
in a certain light, and I don't want that light to diminish. You know what I mean? So don't confuse like somebody's arrogance or whatever bougie, whatever, just with the confidence of them. You know, the confidence in yourself. You know what I mean? When you come into this culture, and not only do you come into the culture, but you see it reflected. You see the other people, you know, embrace you. You know what I mean? It builds you who you are. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
hope everybody gets there. Absolutely.
I it's like you respect begets respect, right? And I
Hmm.
said that earlier. Respect is the foundation on which everything is built, and especially in these ways. You know, whole communities have been born out of the respect for one person to another. Um, it would be one thing if people came humbly and said, "Well, I don't really know where I'm going." You know, um, I'm not really sure if this is the fact or if this is the case, but you know, could you help me? Could you help me get there? Could you show me what I could do to find out where I'm trying to go? You know, if you ask us to draw you a map, that's one thing. But to come in and just blatantly attack and make all these claims and assertions that empty assertions that are not solidly based, or that's not how you do things. That's not right. you know and I love all my brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? I don't care what
Hmm.
walk of life you come from, what you believe in, you know because at the end of the day, we're just this. you know you cut it
Hmm.
open, we all bleed the same thing.
I'll believe the very same thing. Yep. Absolutely.
We breathe the same air. You know what I'm saying? So we may have different beliefs, but you know if you come in a respectful and humble way, there's nothing wrong.
Hmm.
But coming in the way that some people have come to powwows, Hebrew Israelites coming and passing out these flyers and things, that's not
Yeah.
that's not ground for that.
Yeah. That's not
That's
respectful.
not what we're here for. You know, we're here to bring honor to our Creator, our God. Just respect our space, because we couldn't come into one of your temples or one of your places of worship and carry
Nah.
on with our way. Because you'd be offended. So for you to come into a powwow, which is a sacred gathering, you're offending our ancestors and you're offending us.
Mm.
And not everybody's gonna react as calmly as I would. You know, there's some people, especially you know, the real traditionals of us. You know, it may not turn out so good. But I've been there. I've said, well, could you kindly not do that, because this is our space. You know, not get all the 13 tribes, 12 tribes of Israel, and y'all lost
Mm-hmm.
people. And that's not nice. That's not
Yeah.
nice. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm not trying to take this platform to attack or anything, but I've been holding these thoughts in for a while, and you know, I see what you're doing, bro, and I really want to support what you're doing. I really do support what you're doing because this is the first of its kind. You know,
Mm.
to this extent,
Thank you.
and it's we have to start somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We have to start somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I tell people like I was telling a brother last night, don't get discouraged about where you at in your journey.
Yeah,
Uh, in the early 1960s, Chief Mark Gould began the journey of bringing the Nanticoke back. You know what I
yeah,
mean? They finally made it back in 2018,
yeah,
2019. That's a long journey that started with four people. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? But I'm trying to show people that the blueprint for what everyone aspires to do or should be aspiring to do, many of the blueprints have already been laid. You know what I'm saying? And you can look to people in communities all around you, right, that can show you how they did it, which
yeah,
might not be the exact way you do it, but you might be able to take pieces from how they do it and put it in your bag. So when you construct your medicine bag, you know what I mean, you got the right medicines in there to heal you. You know what I'm saying? So for this brother, dancing, you know what I'm saying, was a part of that medicine. You know what I mean? Coming to the culture was a part of that medicine. For myself, part of that medicine is coming back into the culture, helping to educate people. You know what I'm saying? Like those are part of the medicines, part of the bags, how I was able to, you know, reinsert myself into the communities and all that. You know, that's something that might not work for other people. You know what I'm saying? But that's a
yeah.
part of my bag. What you're gonna have in your bag is gonna be a little different than what I got in my bag, but we generally gonna have the same things that are gonna get us to the same places. So
Uh,
somebody like yourself, somebody like Two Hawks, if people look into the Nanti Coke, Lenape tribe, the Ramapo, and look how they wrote themselves back into history. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we all facing now. You know what I mean? How people like yourself walk themselves back into the tradition. You know what I'm
that's,
saying? And didn't ask, but didn't demand it. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Just move with the spirit. And
yeah,
that's how things will come to you.
yeah. Wow, Al Red Dog, you're so right. You know, he said, my
Mm-hmm.
uncle told me, dance, don't worry about what people think, right? And that's just it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A
That's where it
lot of
starts.
stuff, a lot of stuff that I've reached, a lot of stuff that came through to me, came because I said a prayer. Me meeting my cousins and being reunited with relatives in the circle because when I walked into that circle, I had nobody. The very first day, the very first day, you know,
Mm.
that I went to Powwow. I went by the time I left, I had friends. 3 powwows later, I had people call, oh, that's my cousin. Dang, dude, you really danced that. You need to work on the outfit, but you really danced that. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I definitely had the opportunity to see you dance. And when I first saw you, so, all right, so just something I can just say from my experience. When I first saw you, I believe it was either at Ramapo or it was out in Queens, one of the two. And I
It
saw
might
you
have been
dancing.
Queen.
Huh? Yeah,
Might have
it
been.
might have been the Queens Powwow. So immediately I saw you dancing. I mean, get there, me and my cousin, get there, Silent Hawk. And immediately we started looking for people that, start looking for people that we look like. Obviously, see all the different people representing different tribes from different places. And we run into, Shanae, we run into the different, we run into our people.
Yeah.
But I seen you out there in full regalia getting it in.
Mm-hmm.
And not only out there, but shining like everybody else. Looking at home, looking peaceful. Looking like you supposed to be there. And
Mine.
like even for somebody who was very secure in who I was, to be able to see it adds so much to it. Part of the confidence that is me come from seeing brothers like yourself. Come from being around Two Hawks and what he does. Come from being around Chief, seeing people that look like me, look like my family, and have the same stories I have. That's where the confidence comes from. So,
Mm-hmm.
bro, I want to thank you for what you do, because unbeknownst to you, like your medicine helps a whole lot of, this, but I want to say this to you. I want to give you your flowers while you're here. Your medicine has definitely affected others. We benefit from what you do, and, honors and respect you for just being the man you are. You know what I mean? In all ways, respect.
Ditto.
Absolutely. So I was on here for like 6 hours yesterday. I was way too long. I'm a little tired now, a little drowsy and everything. I'm definitely thankful for having you on the show tonight. Definitely want to have you back. Would like to do like a panel. I want to get some other dancers, and we can have a panel discussing, um, ceremonial dance and things of that nature. It's a sister I know from the Pequot. I'm sure you know her, Morning Star. See if I
Yeah.
can get her to come on here. Maybe we can get the sister from Ramapur that was on here, and just talk about the dancing traditions. You know what I mean? And it's a lot more I could reach out to. If I can get them all on the same night, it would be crazy. It would be dope. You know what I mean? Maybe that's something that I'll look into. But definitely thank you for being on here. You represent the culture. You represent us. It's an honor. I'm glad I could share this with people. For people that don't know you, if you could just give your whatever information you want to give up to people, if they want to possibly follow you, if they have questions, looking for more inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can find me on Facebook. I'm at Hondo Davis. And I'm on Instagram at Mike Bull. And then I'm also on TikTok. Um, at Give It to the Chief. Um, so those are the three venues in which you can reach me. Um, uh, huh. I have I have a number. I have a number. I'll give that out privately for anyone who's interested and you want to reach out to me on those venues. If you care to talk, or if you just if you need any information that'll help you in your journey. So, there you go.
I hope.
Mm.
So, once again, thank you for coming on. If anybody has any questions they want to throw in the chat now, if anybody wants to come up, sit here for a couple more minutes just to see if anybody wants to come up and spark up a conversation. Um, Other than that, like I said, it was an honor. Definitely want to do this again. Maybe you can help me produce the show where we have a bunch of people, a bunch of dancers up talking about the experience. Um, do some things
Mm.
like that. So if you have some people in mind, maybe you could contact them, kind of help me set it up. Probably have about six people up, and just have them talking about their experience as in the culture, as far as being as dancers and what it does for them. Just go through the whole little gamut of what it really means. That's
Yeah.
not something that we really touched on today. So that might be something that's worth a whole, do a whole show sitting down and speaking on things, the different styles, things of that
Mm.
nature. All right.
Okay.
All right, bro. So thank you again.
Mm.
It's an honor. It's a great show. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Sorry if my energy's down a little bit. I just, I've been a little tired the past few days, a lot going on. But
Yeah.
I want to stay consistent with what we're doing here. So I'll definitely be back soon. Anybody has any ideas for people that like for me to talk to? Think I can get anything from, just drop it in the chat. Until then, I'll see y'all soon. Let you know when I'm back. Nisha,
Shiki,
Wanishi,
wada. Wano dada.
Aho,
Oh,
Wanu Dada, Aho. All right, brother. Thank you.
one.